Geschichten eines Flugzeugbauers. Towards the end of 2007, just around the time that the aids were being prepared for shipment to New Zealand, I was asked by Leonard Opdycke to write another short summary of my museum idea for his magazine World War I Aero. I was happy to do so, and Leonard published it in his February 2008 issue. It was also thanks to this small, unconspicuous article that I made contact with a person who was later actually willing to support the project extensively. Things looked very promising at the time, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. That will come later. For now, here's the article as it was published in World War I Aero. A unique flying museum project by Achim Sven Engels. For some reason, aircraft always fascinated me, regardless whether they were modern jets or vintage tissue planes. I always had to look and see whenever they appeared. To conquer the skies was a dream I can remember I've dreamt for all my life. A television series called Die Grashüpfer, or The Grasshoppers, the original title was actually Where the Skies Begin, fed that dream. I recall having watched it every Thursday evening, and nothing could keep me away from it. At that time I did not know, but today I'm aware, of course, that the planes were those of Jean-Baptiste Salis, and that most of the filming was done of his flying exhibitions at Le Bourget near Paris, where his collection of early aeroplanes was located. It was this series that lit the love for early birds in my young heart, and it was this series that first told me the stories of these early pioneers: Otto Lilienthal and his gliders, Clément Ader and his Éole, Ferdinand Zeppelin, the Voisin brothers, Louis Blériot, early contests for speed and height, the fight with the elements, and eventually the battles in the skies over the trenches with the Albatros fighters, the Fokker triplane, and those Nieuports caught me forever. Over the past years, this interest developed into a true obsession, and not one of those obsessions that you want to get rid of as soon as possible. Rather, it's that kind of obsession that forces you to continue working in this field and trying to learn as much as possible about it. I still have a long way to go, but the more I learn about early aircraft making techniques, the more I'm fascinated by the skills the workers had and how the engineers designed those planes to accommodate the skills and materials at hand at that time. The more I learn about these early planes and their making, the more I realize how wrong my initial impression of these planes was. Most of this can be attributed to the low level of knowledge spread about such things today. There must be a way to show all this to those interested in it, I thought to myself. Thinking about this over the past few years, I developed an idea for a unique aviation museum. There are two dreams I want to see materialize in my life. One is the aforementioned museum. The other one is building a full-size airworthy Me-109E from scratch. When I talk about dreams now, I mean dreams in the purest sense. They actually never have to come true. My wish is to be kept busy by them until I meet my end. To continually work on these is more important to me than to have it finally done realized. I really hope they keep me busy for a very, very long time. Since I was asked to write down this article about my museum dream for all to share, let me give you some background information and insights. The main purpose of the museum is not just to show aircraft, but to spread much more knowledge about the way they were designed and actually built. To share with others the skills the workers had at the time while handling the materials that were common and in use at the time, employing the tools they had, is the intention of the museum. The idea is to re-erect the Fokker factory as it existed in Schwerin in the years between 1912 and 1918, or, to be more precise, to re-erect the part of the company that was located at the airfield of Schwerin-Görries, a suburb of Schwerin. The entire area, including all the buildings, have to be recreated according to the original construction drawings, which are now in my archive. But this environment will not just house reproductions of the aircraft flown there, but rather it will be shown how they were built there. All of the equipment was used to construct the planes, ranging from tools and machines even down to typewriters used in the offices, will be used to make those planes again. Visitors will be encouraged to participate under professional guidance. This way the audience will become part of the exhibition. To show those who are interested how the aircraft were built, to teach them, is the main purpose of this museum. To give insight into the cultural life of environment in which these people built some of the most iconic planes ever is what this museum is supposed to do. But there's much more behind this project. To show the serial production is another intention. Of course, when I talk about showing the serial production of these planes, I do not mean that there will be a row of many Fokker E3s during production, but rather that one type will be shown on one working station while another one is showing next to it in maybe a different stage. I'm not sure many are aware of the fact that Fokker developed and built almost 60 prototypes in the years of 1912 to 1918. Only a few of these made it into serial production and are therefore known by a large audience. Each and every plane of these 60 prototypes are to be part of the museum. Each and every plane of these 60 prototypes are to be part of the exhibition and in an airworthy condition. Since an airfield was part of the factory area at Schwerin-Görries, there will be an airfield to be used for showing the aircraft in flight along the museum. But not only will they be shown in flight, they will be flown by the audience. Seriously, there's no reason why a visitor who is an experienced aircraft driver cannot be allowed to jump into whatever airplane he wants to try and take it aloft. There's also no reason why a less experienced pilot cannot take lessons in how to handle such a vintage plane, just like it was done back then. When showing people how to build these planes and how they did it back then, why should we not give pilots the opportunity to fly these planes like they flew back then? Let them experience the handling of the aircraft as it really was back then firsthand. When dreaming, let me dream big. There's no reason to use modern engines for any of the planes that are part of the museum either. Many will now say this is not possible due to technical problems, availability of the engines, reliability of the engines, insurance difficulties, and so forth. I agree, there are many reasons that can be found to talk this project into impossibility. I am well aware of all these problems, but this is not my business. Mine is to have my dream and find solutions to the problems. Compromise is not my thing, and that approach would make the museum not even half so interesting. The only thing that is of importance is to recognize the problems and to focus on the solution for each and every one of these that may arise. These are practical difficulties that will have to find a solution when it comes down to it.